A woman on Twitter may have just pulled off the greatest troll of all time, and I am officially obsessed with her. The account, which goes by the name Lolita, posted this image online this week with the caption that reads, "Dad bods are the top male physique." For those of you on audio, this is a pretty fit man. He's pretty strong, but he's got some meat on him, okay? Like, that's important to know for this discussion. The tweet went mega viral. I think it's at over 100 million impressions already. It's gotten so much engagement, so many responses. She followed it up with the second tweet, given some of the controversy, with more similar male physiques, and said, "See, this is a dad bod, strong, built, but not obsessed. Men will cry in the comments, but balance is sexy. A little fat is very much appreciated." In her comments, men are losing their minds and completely missing the point. Before we get started, I'm Hannah Cox. Welcome to my channel where I bring you my politically homeless takes on politics and culture. Before we dive in today, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and of course, ring that notification bell so you never miss one of my episodes. You guys, I have been cackling watching this go down all week. I cannot tell you how funny I have found this. I've been showing posts to my husband. Like, I think he thinks I have a crush on this guy. I don't. I just think that the commentary is hilarious. It has had me in absolute stitches. And I have to show you some of the reactions to this post. These men are pressed. They literally tried to community note her post and say that this was not a dad bod. One commenter said, "Dad bod, and it is a guy obsessed with counting calories and working out, but in a bulk, social media has ruined women." Another commenter says, "Imagine working out really hard, running, eating right, and disciplining yourself to get an amazing body, and some mid online says you have a dad bod," which is hilarious to think about, not only because, yes, like, I wonder who this guy is watching this discourse go down and what his reactions might be to some of these comments, but it makes it even funnier because this is exactly what anon, probably like far lower than mid accounts, do to women online every single week. Like, I mean, probably at least once a month, there's some viral discussion that takes off about some Hollywood starlet or some model being not that hot or mid. And it's just so funny to me how upset they are when this gets turned on them. Another guy said, "If only 1 in 1,000 dads have that body, it's not a dad bod. A frat boy is 100 times more likely to have that build. Just say you were attracted to frat boy bod." Like, okay, I don't know where you got the impression that dad bod referred to women being attracted to what the average father in America looks like. Like, that is unhinged. If that's what you truly thought women were talking about, you kind of lack like listening comprehension skills. This guy said, "LOL, except it's not a dad bod. Think about the average dad. Now consider how uncommon it is for men in general to work out, let alone dads." Yeah, we know, but that's why we're saying we're attracted to a certain physique of a man who does work out, but who is not like a gym rat, who's not obsessed with being in the gym, who's not like constantly counting his calories and can't go out to eat with you. Nobody meant that they were attracted to all the dads who don't work out and have let themselves go. Where did you guys get that? Another person said, "But why would you call that a dad bod? The vast majority of dads do not look like that." People started calling it a dad bod, not because the vast majority of dads look like that. It was a joke to mean that the guy has chilled out a little bit. He's past his like obsession with working out. I actually saw this hilarious video somebody sent me of a comedian that is making the distinction between men who are like obsessed with fitness, who are just constantly always at the gym, versus the kinds of men that women are attracted to a little bit later in life. It's called dad bod because typically men are starting to age out of that phase once they become fathers or once they get a little bit older.
Reason why I get turned on now in my 30s by love handles is because I'm like, oh, he owns property. That's a house body, 401k body, life insurance body. You know what I mean? Now when I see muscles, I'm like, ugh, apartment body.
But the men were having none of it, guys. They apparently have attached so much emotion to this concept of women being attracted to what the average dad looks like, they cannot let it go. Like they were literally coming online and responding to her and posting pictures of what they think the dad bod physique referred to. And I mean, only a picture can do it justice. Here's one. This is a dad bod. And she responded to him and said, no, that's an alcoholic bod. Like, I mean, be serious, guys, really. You really thought this is what women meant they were attracted to when they said they like dad bods? You cannot. You have to be pulling my leg. But it just kept going. Here's another one. That is not a dad bod. This is a dad bod. Learn more about men's bodies. Like they are invested in this. Another guy, according to these folks, 2 of the fittest and baddest athletes on the planet have dad bods. I mean, those guys are a little cut to have dad bods, but yeah, it's not far off from that. Here's one more. Most women think a dad bod includes the kind of biceps most men would never get without a professional trainer and 5 years of training. Because, you know, that's what middle-aged dads do. Source, I'm a middle-aged dad. Yeah, we know. We can tell that all of you are taking this very, very personally. But I think the problem here is with the assertion that it's ridiculous that women would be attracted to men who work out. Women aren't saying they're attracted to men who've just absolutely let themselves go and who don't do anything to keep up their physical appearance. And if you thought that, I just think you're crazy. Like women would never expect men to think that about them. And it's not unrealistic to think that it's attractive for a guy to work out a few times a week. Like that doesn't feel like that big of a lift, right? I run 2 companies. I work my tail off and I still find time to work out about 4 times a week. My husband, same thing, has a very demanding job, also is producing movies on the side, which is an insanely demanding field, has 2 kids, and guess what? Still goes for a run most days and also lifts. Like I just can't track with you on this. It's not that tall of an order. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Plenty of people choose to not take care of their health. Plenty of people choose to not work out. Plenty of people choose to be overweight. I think that that is very, very detrimental for your health. I think that's going to cost you a lot down the line. I personally cannot understand why so many people are okay with living that way. But again, nobody's forcing you to do anything. But the fact that you feel entitled to women being attracted to that is what is bizarre. I even saw some of these men start trying to post models online, like actual supermodels or really famous, very beautiful, very fit women, and trying to use it as a dunk in response to her. They would write things like, I like a classic mom bod. I actually find this attractive, and posting photos of them, which I don't know, like this is ridiculous on so many fronts. Number one, no man has ever gone around saying that they like a mom bod. Like we are very, very well aware in society about how men feel about women's bodies when they go through that process, and also when they are trying to recover from that process. There is zero grace, zero. Okay, there's women who are spending $30,000 to $50,000 for mommy makeover surgeries once all is said and done, just to try to be attractive for their husbands again. There is absolutely no leeway for women. And it's one reason so many women are increasingly opting out of going through that, because you guys don't appreciate it. You don't think it's beautiful. You don't actually have a commitment and devotion to women who put their bodies through that for you. I mean, this whole story, this is a side note, obviously, but this whole story with the little Wicked twink, you know, the guy that plays Bach in Wicked, and him cheating on his childhood sweetheart who he was married to and who had just had a baby with him with Ariana Grande during the filming of that movie. Like that's all over my timeline right now. And I think it is just so sick and disgusting. And it is the fate of so many women who put themselves through this. Like you guys don't appreciate women who have kids, and you certainly do not appreciate their bodies. So like even just the assertion that society as a whole would put forth the notion that some men are attracted to mom bods, it's just beyond belief. It would not happen. It has never happened. So you think you're making a dunk here? You're not. You're kind of just proving the point that there is a tremendous double standard, and one that you thought was perfectly normal until this post apparently shattered your delusions around what women find attractive in men. And I love this woman who quote tweeted him. She said, the mom bod posts are stupid because mom bod was never a thing. There's never been a time where men collectively said they liked it when women let themselves go even a little. This is just the same beauty standard we've been held to our whole lives, including after having kids. Yawn. Now, I want to circle back to her original post because obviously I think there's a lot more going on beneath the surface. That's why I'm covering this today. I think this account was very clearly trolling. And I think she had a very important point, one I want to circle back to. But in the process, her post has revealed just how detached from reality so many men are. Like, I just want to be clear, as far as women go, like, this is more of what we have always meant when we said dad bods. And I'm not saying that average men have this. I'm not even saying this is easy physique to obtain. What we are saying, and I'm going to speak for most of us here now, is that we don't need a man to be like cut and have a six pack and be like a gym rat. We're actually very attracted to men who have some meat on their bones. Obviously, we still want them to be strong. And like, obviously, this is a very, very attractive, famous actor who probably does work out very, very heavily to get this physique. But that is what's attractive, okay? Like when we're pointing to the standard of what women think is ideal, this is it. Most women, right? Plenty of preferences under the sun. Like there's somebody for everybody. And women are much more likely to lower their standards when it comes to looks and to date down as far as like attraction levels go versus men. You see this all the time. I often see stunningly beautiful women who are with men and you're like, you're dating him? Oh, okay, you're dating him. I never see that in reverse. I have never seen a super, super hot, attractive man dating a homely girl. It just doesn't happen. So ultimately, maybe both sides have an ideal physique that they think is the most attractive, that is difficult to obtain for most people, or at the very least, that is one most people are not doing the work to obtain. But I would say that the standards for women versus men are much more stringent. I actually finally weighed in on this on Twitter. I couldn't resist. I said, men are so mad about this post and they're posting pictures of what they thought a dad bod referred to, like this one. And it's a picture from Tony Soprano in a pool. It makes me giggle. It's hilarious that this is genuinely what I think they thought women meant when they said they like dad bods. It's going to be endlessly funny to me. Anyways, I said, I'm sorry to inform you the original post is what most women meant when they said they preferred a dad bod. It never referred to completely overweight or out of shape men. It just meant they weren't attracted to twinks with six packs. Yes, the first body type is still jacked. Women like strong men. I don't know why this is a shattering revelation for so many, but it's high-key funny. In my comments, someone said, men telling themselves that women are thinking of Tony is ridiculous. And I said, yes, peak Delulu. One of the few sane men in this conversation responded to me and said, dad bod, in my opinion, is working out without counting calories or chiseled abs, just hitting the gym. Yes, thank you. That is definitionally what it is. Now, one thing I've seen some people pointing to in this conversation is that making this point that this is what women are attracted to and this is the dad bod, which I guess inferred to most men that women like natural men who aren't working that hard, is similar to the men who often like to say that they like natural women. And this comparison, I think, is fair. And I also think it hints at her true point in making this post. Here's one example. Somebody said, women say dad bod the same way men say no makeup. And that's accurate. This is something women have like quietly laughed at men about for some time, because men do love to say this. They love to say they love natural women, that they don't like a lot of makeup, that they like women who just sort of, wake up naturally. And then they'll post photos of women showing what they mean. And it's always a woman that has obvious cosmetic procedures, who has clearly done a substantial amount of work to look the way she does, and who is usually wearing makeup, just a way of applying it that appears lighter, and men are not able to detect these things. And so I think they genuinely believe that they like natural women, but everything in society points to the opposite.
I actually just don't understand men and how their brains work sometimes, because today I was just minding my own business and this guy comes up to me and he's like, I just wanted to say that you are so elegant. You are such a natural beauty. Yeah, I think that a woman can take one look at me and be like, that's fake. My jawline costs $10,000. Okay. My lips are clearly fucking done. My hair is $2,000. My lashes are $200 every 2 weeks. I don't understand. This is how much I can raise my eyebrows. And for some reason, and I get it all the time, men are like, you really I have enough makeup on to season a and men are just like, they don't make them like you these days. Yes, they do. They make him down at Mattie's Medi Spa, okay, with a needle and a scalpel.
So yeah, we're getting a little closer to the point she was making here. I think men are very, very misled about women's beauty standards, how hard they are to achieve, how much money they cost, and ultimately what's behind the final product that they are attracted to. They love to say they're interested in natural and traditional and plain women, but like, guys, check your OnlyFans accounts, check your Instagram followings, and check the women that you are trying to pursue, the ones that you pine after. All of that shows otherwise. And I mean, really, be serious. There are plenty of homely girls out there who would love a man. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying that if you want a woman who doesn't wear makeup, who's very traditional, who's very modest, who tends to look a bit plainer, they are very available. I know a lot of them right off the top of my head. You can find them in many, many churches. These are not the women that those men are pursuing. Instead, they are constantly fixated on the baddies, on trying to get women to lower their standards, or on trying to humble women that they perceive as being outside of their league. And you don't need to look any further than to the monthly occurrence I pointed to earlier in the episode, where men collectively start piling on a objectively very, very beautiful, very successful woman online and calling her mid. The latest iteration of this was just like a week ago, when some pictures emerged of Sydney Sweeney lounging by a pool, not in full red carpet glam. And you would have thought she like actually went and cheated on these men. The reaction was insane.
Well, it happened. Accounts throughout the internet are calling Sydney Sweeney mid. And it's all happened thanks to some creep that took a bunch of photos of her in a bikini outside of her house in Florida. Sydney Sweeney shows off bikini body lounging outside $13 million Florida Keys mansion. And boy, did this lead to some discourse. A lot of you owe me an apology, says Captive Dreamer. I assume at other points throughout his account, he referred to Sydney Sweeney as being, quote unquote, not that hot. Nuclear Cadillo said all women are catfishes. The question is, to what degree? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Nuclear Cadillo replied, I mean, I wouldn't want my future wife looking like this. Who are you going to marry? A Greek goddess? But it isn't Goo Ga Looney Tunes wolf hitting himself with a bat level. Thank God Cadillo drew a line somewhere. He was like, it's not that bad. Oh, thank God he said that. Here's some other reply. She fell off. She's low-key falling off. You will notice the trend that everybody who is saying this about Sydney Sweeney, quote-unquote, falling off, don't have a profile picture of themselves. I refuse to believe that this is the same person. What? You're telling me that the person on the red carpet with amazing makeup done and in her best dress and whatnot looks different than she does when she just walks outside of her house, you know, to sit by the pool? Shocking. Bizlet said she's hitting the wall already. If that's the wall, sign me up.
There's only two things that explain this kind of reaction. Number one, these men have porn-addled brains. They don't actually know any women in real life. All they've done is consume media images of women. They don't know what real women look like, and they aren't ultimately actually attracted to real women. They are attracted to like robots and edited photos and just complete marketed versions of women. Like, this woman is very attractive. She's very thin, especially compared to the average American woman. She's muscular. She has a good physique. Like, her face is pretty. Her hair's just up and, you know, kind of a messy ponytail. Like, I think you don't actually have any grasp on reality if you truly think that she is fat or not hot or catfishing you. The other explanation is that you're gay. You're not attracted to women at all, because most men, especially when they're in a relationship with somebody, tend to actually appreciate their appearance when they are not always made up, right? Like, my husband, that man had me convinced that I was so pretty without makeup that one time he got me to go on Fox News with like very little makeup on. I just had on like a little bit of like face makeup, a little eye makeup, and I was in the process of getting ready, and he came in, he's like, don't do any more. You look so beautiful. You look so good. Go just like that. And I was like, I don't know. The camera, you really need a lot of makeup for on camera. No, he sent me into that studio, and then I'm on TV and I'm doing my little spiel, and I looked at my lap and my phone's buzzing. He's like, oh my gosh, I was wrong. Have the makeup artist get some lipstick on you immediately. You look like you're dead. So yeah, super embarrassing for me. But my point being, he genuinely does think that I am prettier when I am less made up, so much that he gaslit me into doing that embarrassing TV appearance. But my whole point being that real men are attracted to real women in person. It is the extremely online men that tend to only go after women that are super made up and have a lot of procedures going on. And unfortunately, that is a growing percentage of men. There is one other reason I think that this discussion periodically takes off, and that is, again, that these men recognize these women are entirely out of their leagues. They want to humble them, they want to feel better about themselves, and they want other women to see that and for it to hurt their self-esteem, right? Because they think that if women see men calling somebody like Sydney Sweeney mid and fat and not that ugly, that that's then going to hurt their self-esteem, because obviously they're going to look at her, a Hollywood starlet, and be like, well, I'm not as hot as her. I guess I'm really ugly. Okay. It's all about trying to break other people down so that they feel as badly about themselves as these guys do. I've said this over and over, and I will never be proven wrong on this ever. No attractive person has ever come on the internet and started dunking on other people's looks. It's just not something attractive people do. It's not something successful people do. It's not something people who are on top ever do. And this is why Lolita ultimately posted this post. She was trying to make social commentary, and I think she did it quite successfully, about the double standards at play when we talk about the beauty standards for men versus women. I also think she was trying to take a dig at the kinds of men who would come on and call people like Sydney Sweeney mid, right? Oh, you think that's mid? Okay, this super hot guy is just a dad bod. And it's funny because these kinds of boys can dish it out all day, but the minute someone holds up a standard to them, which is a perfectly obtainable one, by the way, okay? I've seen a lot of guys saying like, you couldn't get that physique. Yes, you could. Yes, you could. You'd have to work for it, but you can get this physique just like women would have to work pretty hard to get Sydney Sweeney's physique. They can't handle it when somebody holds up an ideal to them. Instead, they are super in their feelings and uber emotional.
So to give you an idea, when we talk about this and these unrealistic standards for women, okay, the ideal male body fat percentage for fitness is 14 to 17%, to be clear. 14 to 17%. If you are too lean, you will actually, your performance will suffer. Cardiovascularly, as far as strength, we know as far as a man performing at is 14 to 17%. Okay. That's not crazy. That's what that guy is right there, dad bod. By the way, go to the gym right now. Go to the gym, find guys lifting heavy, heavy ass weights regularly and watching their diet, not being obsessive, not being a bodybuilder, and ask them to take off their shirt. You know what you'll find? Dad bod. You will find dad bod. That's fine if you think that that's dad bod. And it's not. The problem is when there are standards that are hyperly unrealistic for one half of society and basically none for the other. Women often complain about how they have to uphold these standards, and men don't. I would present to you that the exact opposite is true. That's Exhibit A, dad bod. But you know,
do you hear how out of touch these guys are? Like, they genuinely think that holding up this somewhat fit physique, and again, this guy, like, yeah, I'm sure he does work out a good bit. I'm sure he is strong, but this is not somebody who is like completely watching his diet or who's having to work out every day or who's doing anything excessive. So yes, this is obtainable. And the fact that you are screeching over it in comparison to all the things that are expected of women is so funny. Like, not only are women expected to be super fit physically and thin, but they have all kinds of other standards they're expected to meet as far as their hair goes and their skin goes and their makeup application goes and their fashion goes and whether or not they're getting Botox to prevent their wrinkles and if they're getting their body hair lasered off. Like, the list goes on and on and on. For women, men are just told, hey, women think it's hot when you work out and you're strong, and they are melting down. No one is saying that the dad bod ideal is an average body. No one is saying that anybody has to have these bodies. But if men want to claim to be so reasonable and logical, then they should be able to hear that they're not the ideal and be presented with images of what is without pitching a hissy fit. And if they find it triggering and deeply upsetting to be presented with these images, as it seems they definitely do, then maybe they need to examine the ways that they objectify women, the double standards that they uphold, or how they treat women who they don't find attractive, which, this could be a whole episode in and of itself. But the ways that men tend to disregard women and not even fully see them as people when they don't find them attractive, whole theses could be written about that alone. All right, guys, I am out of here after today for the holidays. I just want to take a quick minute and say thank you all so much for being here. My channel has seen a lot of growth over the past 2 months since I committed to doing daily videos. And while it has definitely been a lift, it has also been super rewarding. I know there are a lot of talented creators on this platform, which can make it difficult to stand out. I know your time is valuable. So I just want to say I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in, for leaving your thoughts on my videos, for subscribing, for sharing the content with others, and for ultimately helping me grow. We are almost at 30,000 followers here. Super exciting. I'm hoping that we hit that mark by the end of the year, and I cannot wait to see where this goes in the new year. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a very happy Christmas to those who celebrate, happy holidays to those who celebrate other traditions, and a very happy new year. I'll see you on January 2nd. If you like this episode, make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel if you've not already, and if you want even more content, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok.